Back to Monday. I did a little work on Saturday. Just tried to experiment with a few different versions of overlapping. And I like one of the ideas, and I'll flash on screen there. Basically, I'd like to create a mass, if I can, using this kind of overlapping idea to steer it a little bit away from design and more into sort of material responses in terms of to make a design or pattern secondary to actually how the material is going to work. So this is a mock-up, if you like, of something that I'm going to try. These pieces I've just cut out, you can see here, and overlaid, but so it has a very kind of almost Photoshop finish. But when I try this for real, obviously I'll do a layer by layer. One layer will dry, and then you should see on the next layer, you should see some level of relief or some kind of raising from the surface. So it's not the essence of simplicity that I've been aiming for. But at this point, I would like to work something up to a point where I've just taken all of these experiments and knowledge and sort of like concentrated it into one piece. So I'm gonna try this. I mean, my feelings changed for it. I've been sitting on it for the weekend and kind of looking at pictures and so on. Yeah, I think I'd like to work it up. I have a few pieces out to dry at the moment, so I'm going to leave them for a number of hours. Gonna hand deliver some books to my friend down the road. Let's have a look at the selection here. We have Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance on the road, and this one is Young and the Native American Moon Cycles. Also going to give him this one, which is a graphic novel, which is really interesting. I'm going to leave it for today. It's still a bit too tacky to start to try to layer on this, so I'm going to start early tomorrow, and hopefully I can get in here twice to keep working on it. So call it a day. Tuesday. So first I have a call with a curator that I'm working with here, so I'm going to do a quick rundown of everything that's been happening. I'm going to take the dogs now, just reflect on this. I had a really long talk there. I outlined all the documents and the photographs of the work I've done to date. The issue for me with this is when you look at it from the side, I mean, there's practically no depth. So I'm still trying to give it some kind of weight off the canvas. So I'm going to explore this idea of the interruption. While at the same time, this is still something I think I'd like to bring forward. Back to the drawing board, I think I'm going to do a lot of smaller experiments. Now, really simply here, all I've done is I've cut out the remainder of that original piece of clay. You get this very nice profile going on. Like it's going to be quite deep from the canvas, and you can later carve it down, I guess. So this is something that needs work. Right now, I'm going to go back to paper and just think it out on paper before I make any more physical experiments. So yeah. Wednesday. I'm definitely going to abandon that previous study. You can see how thin each layer is. I don't think I can devote the materials or the time to do something like this when I'm indifferent to the results. So instead I have a few starting points for today, which I have sketched up and thought through. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Just finished the morning of studies here, so followed through from the drawings and sketches. Results are quite promising. definitely some really interesting interactions here. Particularly the last one here, I think, has something. But yeah, certainly interesting to think in this other spatial dimension. So it turns out I delivered the wrong Zen book, so this is actually the one he was looking for. So I'm gonna drop that down. I first came down to this river about 27 years ago. When I was a kid, I used to come down here fishing. And then all through the years, different stages of my life, I'd come down here. Sometimes I'd bring a dog, walk a dog. Sometimes just to take in the sights. But yeah, it's incredible to be back after all these years under these circumstances. There's one dog in particular, Frank was his name. This was the spot I used to bring him all the time. When he comes to mind, I always think of this place. Quite impressive results, I have to say. I'm surprised how this behaves and how it reacts. You can see in some cases the paint is sort of overlapped, in other cases it's trapped in a certain sense. Like, and you get this depth, and you get this sense of like movement and gravity, the sense of time involved. So it's very intriguing, very curious thing. What can I say? I just think it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to leave these to cure and to see how these materials interact as they dry. I think I'm quietly excited about this. Very early stages. It's just to think how to develop this idea. A good day in the studio. Thursday. Spent the morning here. Worked up a new sculptural piece. You can see I spent quite a number of hours molding these pieces, and then I did a run of paint here. And there are some, as always, there's some really beautiful details here. Nice depth. I need to work on this. I'm going to try something else here. These are little drops of paint. Once these dry, they should offer enough resistance to interrupt the paint. So that's where I'm at now. I need to define the boundaries of this so that I can move it forward. But I'm not sure if I get back in later on. If this dries in time, I'll be back. Is that tasty grass? What I'm going to do here, I'm going to let this dry down. I mean, you can see quite a significant buckle already across here as well. So yeah, I'm going to just let it work away and see how these materials blend. Nothing's really dry yet. Yeah, going to wait till tomorrow before I can push anything forward. So Friday. When working on something like this, basically after doing a series of studies, you come away from it, you leave the studio, and naturally one will seem to be more promising than another. And that's the case here. There's been one that sort of stuck in my mind. It seems to offer something more. Yeah, so that's the one I'm thinking about developing, and to try to refine it and to define the acceptable levels of tolerance for how much and how little and so on. So I did a little cutting here this morning. Here is one where, as before, I've removed the remainder of the clay support. I mean, you're highlighting, you're focusing on these negative spaces here, but there's a basis of a language here. Yeah, I think there's a foundation of something here that I could use. It's just to do it right and to do it well. If you're going to sort of like debut a new idea, as always, it should be pushed to the final degree before it falls apart. In terms of black and white photography, in the darkroom, you know, I was instructed that you should develop the photograph right to the very edge of the point where it seems as if it's being manipulated. So you're trying to find the edge of these forms of this language. It has something, yeah, it certainly has something. I mean, perhaps I would change maybe the curvature up here or something, but that's a fantastic little thing, you know. There's no denying it for me. One question I have now is to go ahead and to carve these things, the way that you read this now versus the way that you read this. I mean, once you carve those pieces out, it seems to read the same. I'm not sure. One thing for me is now clearer, like this kind of line quality here versus this. This is too chaotic for me. Obviously it's too chaotic, but it's important to test it anyway. So you all right, Abby? You wanna play? Just did another couple of experiments here, and once again I'm really surprised with the results. If you remember this experiment here where I put these paint drops and they come to a point, well, look at this. I mean, this is really something. Like, I could not have predicted this kind of behavior. It's irregular, there's some kind of broken pieces. However, look at this, look at the richness here. This is definitely something that needs to be developed. Actually, on reflection, it's been a really substantial week. It's like one slight detour and then you open all of these other doors, and yeah, I feel like there's a lot that I can do here now. There's a lot of things that I can develop and explore and build upon. So once again, I'm going to try to stay out of here on the weekend just to take some rest. But things being as they are in the country and being sort of on lockdown, it's quite possible that I'll come in here at some stage, but maybe just to clean the brushes or to tidy up a little bit. But yeah, that's it, I guess. I mean, it's a nice point to sort of to check out. I'll flash on screen, I think. If I have anything to flash on screen, I'll flash it on screen. And otherwise, stay safe. Have a nice, quiet weekend, and talk to you Monday.